Welcome to Happy Hour Art beginner sketching tutorial. Okay, so before we can do a still life drawing, I want to teach you all about shading. So shading or tonal value refers to the darkness or lightness of an object. In other words, how light or how dark it is. I want you to think about a black and white photograph. When you see an old black and white photograph, you will see it's not completely black, it's not completely white. There are bits of gray in between. Now, tonal value can vary depending on how light falls onto an object. It can change the shape of an object, it can change the look of an object. Famous artists who used a lot of light in their work, if I come to mind, Rembrandt and Vermeer used a lot of that. Now, to explain to you how this works, as you can see, the light is coming from the top. So the bottom here would be dark. If I had my lamp shining this way, that part would be dark. If my lamp or my light source was coming from here, this part would be dark. This part here would be gray and almost gray and light. So the part that is the lightest is often referred to as a highlight. So before we do any drawing, I want to focus on shading today, which looks a little bit like coloring in, but it's really not. So you're going to start off with your 4B. You can take out a 3B, a 2B, and a B pencil. So as you may notice, there are different techniques for shading. A lot of students, when they're learning to do shading, they will do two techniques, either linear or crosshatch. So I'm going to start with the first one, and I'll be taking out a 4B pencil. So when you start, I want you to kind of do that. So when you press into your paper like this, okay, that is linear or one-directional linear, as we call it. Okay, so when something is kind of dark, notice I'm not coloring it in. I'm kind of lifting my pencil up and creating one-directional short strokes. So as you go lighter, these kind of lines sort of separate. Okay. So be very mindful not to color in like that. Okay. You could. That's called smudging. So this can also create a implied texture on any object as well. And notice when I go lighter, the lines, you can't almost actually see it on here. Okay. Almost very, very light to a very, very, very light shading. So this is one directional. Usually when I have a class, I will ask you to do 2 blocks each, 2 dark, 2 medium, and 2 light. So here we have dark. This little bit that's neither dark nor light, we say medium. And this bit that's heading towards white, we say light. Dark, medium, light. Dark, medium, light. So the next bit, I'm going to grab my 4B again. So now I'm going to do crosshatch. Crosshatch is kind of going this direction and kind of like that direction, like that. Okay, so we're going to start with the same. It's one directional. You're going to kind of do exactly the same what you've done here. And again, don't forget to lift your elbow and your wrist. So kind of do here. You can also change the edge of this. So I'll kind of do that. And kind of do here. Go very lightly. And as you go lighter, the lines become further apart and less and less and less. Okay, so it's the same as one directional, but now you're going to go this way. So you're going to kind of head this way. This works well. A lot of students, when they do beginning drawing, they would often do this technique. I did it for quite some time, almost throughout my high school. Then I changed the way I do later on. So this is the basics. So a lot of people who are learning, you will see this a lot. It's to get them to blend, get you to blend quite well. So this is called crosshatch. You get another one which is multi-directional crosshatching. So I'm just going to use a different pencil here. I will switch to 3B. You can use the same one. So again, if you're right-handed, you work from left to right. If you're left-handed, you will work this way. So I'm going to do multi-directional, which is kind of, you kind of do this. And you really dig into your paper when you do that. There we go, it's much sharper. So these are different shading techniques. And there are many more. So I'm just going kind of different directions. Okay. And as I'm going, I'm kind of doing medium, so dark, medium, light, any direction, multiple directions. Okay, this is just one of many techniques that you could do. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to do the same as I did cross-hatching, except each block, I'm going to go back like that. Kind of do that. Do this. Kind of do that. Go like this. So multi-directional cross-hatching. There we go. Now the one is called linear or planar. I don't really use this one, but yeah, you could use it for certain textures. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to pick it like that. So again, like that. What that means is you kind of do on the side. Think of a chalk piece. So you would have that kind of effect. Keep in mind your pencil has to be sharp for that. So this is one way to do it. To go dark, kind of light. This also works really well in textured sketching paper. So there we go. That's one way to do it. I'm just having fun with this. So there we go. That's one other technique. So these are the 4 techniques. One directional, cross-hatch, multi-directional cross-hatching, and then planar and linear, or rubbing or frottage. So let's go over this. This is tonal value. We refer to this as tonal value. Tonal value basically means taking one color, the lightness and darkness of one color. going from light to dark. So in other words, I want you to think of, let's say, blue, and you're putting that blue kind of like in a Pantone or a spectrum. You'll get different kinds of blues, slightly darker blue and slightly lighter blue. It's the same color, but the hue changes, the intensity of the light, how dark or light it is. So in this case for drawing, we'll have like dark, medium, light, highlight, dark, medium, light, highlight. So this shading technique, one directional, this one cross hatch, this one multi-directional cross hatch, and this one linear and planar. So these are 4 techniques that I just showed you for shading. And you can head this as, I'm going to write it here, one directional, cross hatching or etching, sometimes you'll hear that. Cross hatching, multi-directional, cross hatching. And this one is linear and planar.